Hello. It's me, your favorite pastry-based life form, or as I may be the only pastry-based life form on this platform. I was going to stream earlier than this, but I may have accidentally inhaled lemon juice instead of drinking it. What? What amazing being a human that was. Totally, totally normal. Totally normal behavior from me. This was originally gonna be more I don't know, fancy than it's gonna be right now. But I decided to fix that for the YouTubes. We could just edit it and fix it, right? Totally. Hi Roo. It's totally how things are going right now. Yeah, I've been like wanting to do this since December, but in my head I had like a way more put together thing than I have right now. And because, perfectionist brain wants to be perfected, uh, probably not how that phrase it. It just didn't happen. So instead, you have me, and uh, that's it. I'm sorry. There was going to be visuals. I was going to make a PowerPoint presentation, the innovation, never seen before. But no, no, no. I I'm looking at the list of dramas that I watched last year, and it is not as long as I remember it being. Or maybe it's just my brain being like, yeah, the year before you put some real damage. But I do have them written down, and some of them have a lot less notes because I just said that I finished them, and so I might have to refer to um to some other things to explain what the drama is to you because I have no memory of it, which might sound like a bad thing, but honestly, some of these dramas I remember very well, and that's not to their benefit. Uh, Before we start ranking things, I am going to explain my rating system. It goes from 0 to 10 because I can't do 0 to 5, do 1 to 5. It's not detailed enough. Some dramas that you need new numbers to explain. Uh, it goes from 0 to 10. Sometimes I will be rogue in my ratings of dramas and just put half numbers because I can and because I will. Um, but we'll start with 10 and go down because truly that's the bottom is where you get the good stuff. 10. I will never not talk about this piece of media and how it makes me feel. It's flawless. It's unforgettable. Did everything that it said it would and about 12 other things. Sometimes the execution of those things isn't that great. Or you can tell, oh, you did this on a budget. You did this on no money. You did this on the money that you found in the back of a drawer somewhere, or like down the side of a sofa. But you did a great job. So you can have like a flaw like that, but make up for it because it's got a great story, it's got great chemistry, or it's just the emotions. The emotions are emotioning and they're doing great. Um, in this category, for examples, I would put the Thai drama Until We Meet Again, even though that might rude. That might be something I actually do this year because I am determined to make it more detailed this year than last year. Because some of the couples, some of them are awful. Sometimes the second couple, you're like, why is the first couple here? We do not care for them. We do not want them here. We hate this. There is no chemistry. Or like, this is just toxic. Why are we glorifying toxicity when the second couple exists? Or if you're watching like a Thai BL, we're like, I like the third couple that has like 0.5 seconds of screen time. Why is anyone else here? But yeah, Until We Meet Again is a 10 for me. I watched that 2020, I think, when it came out, and you can very much tell it has very little budget compared to newer BL dramas that are coming from Thailand right now. Um, Also, there's this one gunshot scene that are pretty traumatic, and they play it about 85,000 times in the drama. You're like, oh great, here we go again. Uh, I also have Tale of a Thousand Stars written as a 10 in here. Love that show. It's cheesy, but mm, mm. And I have I Feel You Linger in the Air, which is also a Thai BL. Um, it has it's nowhere near as like well known as the other ones. It did not get the love that it needs. It is it's so good that I broke my vow to never purchase an ebook, and I bought the ebook. the tra because the translated version of the book that it's based on is only available in ebook, and it was worth it. And to this day, it is still the only ebook that I own that I paid money for. They have some like out of date. That's not how you call it. Out of copyright old books as ebooks. Um, but it's very much worth it, and it adds like the show. The in the book, there's like two timelines, and in the show they only do one, but they put in way more detail into it. So like they both have their own flavor. It doesn't take from the book to adapt only part of it because there's no way they could have done both sides of the book well in one series. Um, who knows if we'll ever get the other half, but I love also a historical drama, which is a historical drama. Moving on. 9. 9 is it's great. It's just not there. It's just not quite there. Maybe they put in way too many episodes and it got too stretched. You're like, oh no, this should have been 12 episodes. It's 16. This should have been 16 episodes. It's 20. It should have been 20. It's 32. It should have been 32. It's 50. Or there's a Chinese drama I watched a long time ago that has 90 episodes and it could have very much been 50. Like, oh, you put in a lot of filler in this. Uh, Another way you can get a 9 for me, if it's like perfect drama, is if the last episode has that Korean drama like curse of where the last episode is just bad. Sometimes they be doing things in the last episode that's just like, oh my god, how could you do this to us? How quite often when I watch it with friends, I'm like, how are they gonna fuck this drama up now? How are they gonna fuck it up? Um, it's gotten a lot better, I feel. it was very much a like 2012 to like 2016 problem where drama would be great, and the last episode it would just be like, and then they had amnesia. Then it was all a dream. Uh, so this is like just stuff that fails the landing at the end usually, or like there's just like a subplot where you're like, why? Why did you do this? And like an example of a nine, which I may have, which we'll talk about later on, which I may have changed in this I rewatched a show. Oh my god, a rewatch. Is examples are Love Like the Galaxy, which is something that I rewatched this year. It has a flaw, despite being one of my favorite dramas, where the mother and Nyang Nyang's arc that they have is too long. It needed to be shorter. Marry My Husband is also in here, and The Matchmakers, which had a plot that was really stretched out. It could have been about 4 episodes shorter than it ended up being. Right, for an 8, uh, love it. There's one big problem, and it makes it hard to rate any higher. Like, example of that is My Happy Ending, um, and the way that it dealt with mental health. You're like, great drama, uh, you. 7 is like maybe it has a confusing plot. Um, maybe it's very tropey in a like just an unnecessary way. Or it's like uh yeah, just like it's way too tropey. Or it just doesn't understand the tropes that it's using. Um, or we hate everyone but the side couple. Who's like the only reason that you turn up for, and then you skip everything because what them because it's unbearable. Example of this is Pit Babe, uh, who's so brave, so brave, tries to bring ABO, Omega, oh, tries to bring the Omegaverse from fanfiction land into national TV, but they chickened out halfway through. And there's going to be a second season, and they're chickening out even more. uh, 6 is worth watching scenes from again. You remember it fondly, but it's easy to forget about because there's nothing that really stands out. It's just kind of a good time, but not a great time. 5, it's better than nothing. It's exactly in the middle. It's an easy watch, something that doesn't take you like using your brain to, to interact with. Um, it doesn't take a lot of energy to consume, but you're not gonna watch it again or recommend it to anyone unless you knew that it had a trope in it that they particularly loved. Um, yeah, that's fine. 4, it's it's milk toast. It's nothing. There's, there's usually something really wrong with like a big part of the show. Like the romantic couple is like feels like siblings. Which is never great. It's never something you want. Uh or the plot is just like wandering off into the desert alone and leaving you behind. Um something that I would put in this is Dare to Love Me, which had a really drawn out plot, a bad mystery, and an age gap that felt really uncomfortable. For three, um, there's some speck of something that could have been a good show. There's like one thing where you're like, I like this one thing, but like nothing. For two, there's something enjoyable, even if it's only looking at the cast's face. Like, oh, you employed some handsome slash beautiful slash attractive talent. Or there's like, oh, the scenery is really pretty. Or like you did a great costume here. Or like, oh, you did the CGI is actually not that bad. But there is nothing to come back for again. Um, these are shows that I usually forget that I've watched. And they're so bad that they're not even bad enough to make you angry about something. Like I don't have an example for that because I can't remember. To get a one, there's no chemistry, there's no plot, there's characters I actively hate, there's plot holes that I am not willing to overlook. Amnesia trope get used way too much usually. Um, and a one is where I'm angry. I'm angrier than when it gets a zero because this had something. Even if it was just the spark of something that could have been something that I cared about, there was something. And it's hard to describe because it's mostly like a gut feeling where you're like, this could have been something if if you'd done anything different, literally anything different. If we changed something, it would have made it better. But we're here in this land of nowhere. Zero. A zero, there are zero redeeming qualities to this piece of media. Um, it's something that I would actively tell people not to watch. Uh, which there is generally it's I don't think I've come across a zero um personally. There are dramas that I have told people not to watch either because it's not a great first watch. Um like if you're starting to watch a genre or from like a new country or like you've never watched yes, if you've never watched something in that genre before, if you've never watched something from that country, I'm like, this isn't a great start. This is gonna put you off. Like I often tell people, don't watch Tan Type. It's not a great start. Tan Type's a Thai BL I had the misfortune of watching. But you know what's even more upsetting than that is I watched Tan Type 2. Was there a content drought at the time? Yes, that's my excuse. But ah, was not worth it. I love when the sequel makes you go backwards. Like the character development goes backwards because they need conflict and it feels very awkward and weird. Uh yeah. But we did get Don't Say No out of Town Type 2, which was better. Marginally better, but better nonetheless. But I don't generally warn people off also because like I might not like it doesn't mean that you won't like it. Usually it's because of a trope. Like that I don't like, or like I have a friend that hates Amnesia. It's a trope, so like I would never recommend them an Amnesia show that leans too heavily on that trope because it would make them very upset. Uh, yeah, there is the rating system that I came up with for this. Um, I'm thinking about changing some of it because I tend to rank things pretty high. um, yeah, there we go. Right, the rest of this is in alphabetical order, and you may notice something about the titles in of shows. There is some overlap in 2024. A lot of people loved certain words in their title. So here we are alphabetically. The first drama in alphabetical order, not in watching order, is Are You the One, which is a Chinese historical drama. Um, it's straight, which I point out only because there is a significant amount of BL in my last year's watch list. It got an 8 um, out of 10. It's 40 episodes long, and the tropes in it are mistaken identity, and it's a mystery romance. Um, the plot is the plot is interesting. um, you save an injured woman with amnesia. Oh my no! Oh my god! It's amnesia. Um, pretend that you're her husband to collect info on your enemy, only to find out that oops, she's actually your enemy. Yet somehow you end up being a surprisingly healthy relationship. Is the amnesia annoying? Yes. Is the weird power dynamic of pretending to be a woman's husband extremely weird and uncomfortable? Also, yes. But the way the drama deals with this and the way that their relationship evolves through the show is enjoyable. It could have been shorter. The last 5 or so eps kind of feel like they could have been condensed into 1 or 2 episodes, but it doesn't shy away from how weird the issues in it. And it's not like, yeah, it's great. It's like there's like some genuine like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. No, you shouldn't have done that. Let's develop as people. And I think it's worth it in the end. Because they genuinely do have a relationship at the end of it that is healthier than maybe 60% of straight romance dramas. That's really saying something because some of them are wild. That was Are You the One? The second drama on the list is Cinderella at 2 a.m. That's a Korean drama. It's another straight drama, one of those modern fairy tales things. It has a lot of like office politic tropes. It has that office romance, falling in love with your senior at work, um, only to find out that you're the senior. Has that like younger guy, older woman, but not in a creepy way, in a understandably non-creepy way. But I gave it a 3 because I could not finish it. Like I love a cheesy drama. It was no, 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 no. The level of cheese in this drama could kill an adult man. Like the level of cheese in it caused me physical pain in a way that a drama hasn't done since a drama that I watched, I think in 2022, that was called A Gentleman and a Lady. And that had 3 different instances of amnesia on the same person. It involved falling off of a cliff. Yeah. It's mm. And like I said, I like tropey things. My favorite trope in in media is time travel. And like as like as it goes, pretty like it's pretty high on cheese level. But mm, no. And I gave up on it at like episode 4, I think. And then like a month later I was like, it can't have been that bad. It cannot have been that bad. Go back and watch another episode. And then it came back for episode 5, and the way it deals with someone's suicide attempt literally made me nope out of it. Like, it was not good. It also has one of those mainstays of Korean dramas, the evil mother-in-law. She's genuinely terrible. They ugh. The whole like point of this drama is that there's this guy, he starts working in an office, he falls in love with like his manager, I think she is, and then they're dating for 2 years or something, and then she finds out that he's actually related to the family that owns the business, and his mother tries to pay her off to break up with him because she's like, "You're too poor to be with my son." And so she's really poor and she just takes the she just takes the money and breaks up with him. And then the whole rest of the show is him trying to get her to like come back to be his girlfriend again. And uh, it's no. I do not have the strength in me to watch episode 6. And it's really sad because the guy who's the main lead in it is really good actor, but he has so many terrible roles, and it's a shame. The next drama I watched is called Dare to Love Me. Um, I forgot to tell you what. I gave it a 3. Cinderella at 2 a.m. Because no, I forgot to tell you. Um, the next drama, Dare to Love Me, is a Korean drama with an age gap, an older woman, younger man trope, um, that would be all right, but they make such a point of it in the drama to make it like it's okay that they have this age gap. It's okay that they have this age gap, that it makes it weird in a way that it wouldn't have been, I think, except that they make such a big deal of it and it's very uncomfortable. Even more so by the fact that she used to teach him when he was a teenager. Uh, yeah. I also didn't finish this one, but I didn't finish it. Maybe, let me check. Where did I get to? Dare to Love. Do. There is 16 episodes. Gave up at episode 11. Yeah, I gave it a good go and it did not did not help. The whole plot of this show is that there's the younger guy. He comes from like a closed off society, rather like the Amish, who are still living within the Joseon dynasty morals and ideals. um in this like small village where his grandfather is like the head of the village, and he falls in love with an older woman who is a frustrated art teacher. Um, and they both have to work together to figure out who's stealing all these priceless historical artifacts from the village, and how his father really died to and a big part of that is getting his hometown to host a fashion show for an international brand. Um, why I didn't finish it is because it felt really early on like you already knew where the plot was going. Um, and like maybe that's because I've watched too many Korean dramas. That now I like know the tropes too well, or whether it was just not great. Like the mystery just wasn't well written. Um, and by episode 11, it didn't feel like there was anything else left to find out. That could be stretched over 5 episodes. Um, and they kept showing you the villain throughout the show, and like to the point where it wasn't a mystery about who it was. It still is. Some Korean mystery dramas do this thing where they show the viewers who the like they explain it to us before the characters know, and like there is a reason for that, and like a way of doing that that I don't think they do very well generally, because it feels like okay, we know now what. Like in a way that other shows would you would find out the mystery as the characters in the show find out the mystery, like the clues and stuff. Um, they sometimes like are like, here's the answer to the question. Now watch these characters not know that, and it feels kind of like it's lost the point of why you're watching it. Um, like it takes the stakes out of it in a way that's very unsatisfying. um, and like there's potential, of course, that like out of nowhere they're just going to be like, yeah, that guy wasn't the guy. It's someone else. Um, if they pull something at the absolute last minute, but like it wasn't worth hanging around. It wasn't worth hanging around to find out. I don't think. Um, because I absolutely think it's the guy who got rejected from the village. Uh, because they're like, who's this guy? How could like? I also, like I said, I hate the way that they've portrayed the age gap in the relationship, because they're both ostensibly old enough at this point for it not to feel predatory or icky, but it does because of how they portray the female lead. Um, it feels like they're like, oh, people don't like age gaps at the moment. People not in the age gaps. So they're like trying to make it feel less big by making the actress play her as very babyish in a way that contributes so heavily to the like unit of their relationship. I don't know how else to put it. Just like the way that they made such a big deal out of it makes it feel weirder than it would if they didn't. And like it's not uncommon for like Korean female leads in dramas to feel like they're acting younger just because of cultural differences and like norms and like aegyo and stuff like that. But like she's in her 30s dating a guy in his 20s, and if they both been in their 20s, then it wouldn't feel as weird that she was acting like that. But because she's in her 30s, it feels like they're purposely making her play younger so they can be like, oh, look, they have an age difference, but she's actually really more like his age. And it's like, ugh. Ugh. Like they're so desperate for people not to be like, ew, age gap by making her act like teen, early 20s instead of 30 that it draws more attention to it. I know I've talked about this a lot, but like, famously, but like it's like the big thing of this drama where you're like, ew. um, and I give this a 4. It has 16 episodes, but I only watched 11 of them. Yeah, that is Better Love Me. And then I watched Devil Judge again. This is like a rewatch. Um, there are other rewatches in the list, but this is one I watched with a friend. It has 16 episodes. It's one of those mystery thriller, dystopian law, vigilante justice, corruption. Totally not based on reality shows. um, it gets. I think I gave it a 9 this time around. Um, it could be 9.5 to be honest. It's yeah. It has morally grey characters. It has terrifying women. Uh, it's definitely not based on reality. Totally not. Totally could it could never be based on it. The like the main politician, the president, I think, of Korea in it isn't based on Trump at all. I have no idea what you're talking about. There isn't a plague that happens that totally isn't COVID. No, never, never. But instead of a dystopian future, it's set in a dystopian present. I know you said president. Um, there is a dystopian president, but set in a dystopian present in Korea in like 2020, 2021 kind of time. Um, where just a lot of corruption. Um, it's hard to explain anything about it really, but it deals with a lot of. It's one of those case. I can't remember what they call them, but like a show where it's like this episode is this case, this episode is this case, but then there's an overarching um plot line that goes through the whole thing. Um, and I feel like every episode you're like, oh, this person's the bad guy, this person's. But you find like as you find out and learn more about people, you have to really like think about your where you morally stand on certain subjects and like if you were living in this society where they're doing like slum clearances, they're like kidnapping people in like testing doing medical testing on poor people, the uh the live streaming all their um court cases, all their trials even, and to the nation, and then the whole nation can vote for who they think is guilty or not guilty on an app. Um, and like how morally okay is that with everyone? Is that like just a bigger jury? And like we live in a world where we have jury trials. Isn't that just a bigger jury that's more representative of the nation if you have everyone able to vote on an app about who they think is guilty or not guilty, or is this just showmanship? Is this just one of those where the things where the elite give the people shows and bread and then they won't complain or take over, they won't rise up against the government. Um, it's a lot. One of those shows where you could just sit and watch the whole show in one go. Uh, I do not advise that. It is 16 episodes long. Um, and they're not hour long. They're like an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes. I think this one's like an hour and nine. They're very variable in length, but they're all like over an hour long. Um, it has one of the actors in it is a member of the boy group GOT7, and I cannot think of his name off the top of my head right now, but he does an amazing job. Because usually idol actors get a lot of flack for not being uh necessarily the greatest at acting, but he's one of the ones like Myung Soo, who is part of was part of a group that's long since gone now, that really turned public perception of that around. He does a great job in this. Um, and I think I remember reading somewhere that the the author of I guess you say screenwriter. The screenwriter of Devil Judge wrote the whole show without assigning gender to any of the characters, so that they were like open-minded to who would play who. Um, and you end up with the two main characters both being male, and there's vibes that they may be a little bit more than friends, a little bit more than colleagues, a little bit more than co-workers. Yeah. I'm not the only person to point this out. Quite a few people have pointed this out. Um, and I think out of the list of shows, if you're in for like mystery thrillers, dystopian stuff, you like court drama kind of things, it's definitely worth watching. It's one of the ones that I like recommend the most out of shows that I've watched because I feel like it's a very good intro show if you've never watched a Korean drama before. It's a great way to start. I know a lot of people like their first drama was Squid Game, and like I haven't watched Squid Game. One of the few things that I haven't seen purely because of how I'm I'm one of those people where if everyone tells me to watch something, I will not watch it. I will actively refuse to watch something. Like I haven't watched Game of Thrones, which like horrifies people when I tell them. But like I just know it's not something that I'm gonna like. Um, so I'm not gonna watch it. Same with Squid Game. I know that I'm not gonna like it, so I'm not gonna watch it. Um, that's why you don't see many horror stuff in this list. Because my brain does not need like more ammunition. But like if you don't know, I have psychotic depression, so I hallucinate. I don't need my brain doesn't need more material for that. The next drama is Love is Like a Cat. which exists both as a short series with 12 episodes and as a movie. Um, you're like, how how does that? In fact, it tries. It tries to be a thing. It's a giant production show between a Thai production company and a Korean production company. It's a BL, and it got a 5 from me. In that it's fine. The plot of it is that an actor, a Thai actor, um, who has like a really cold personality and like image, gets forced to take part in a Korean TV show where he works at a dog cafe for like a variety show where they're like, oh, celebrities doing real normal people work. But he has like an overwhelming fear of dogs, um, that he has to overcome in order to make this TV show. Because like, we need to fix your image. You've got a terrible image. Um, and then he ends up falling in love with the owner of the dog cafe, who like teaches him not to be as afraid of dogs. And that is that's it. Got um it's got Mew, the Thai actor Mew in it. And Mew was in the Tan type I complained about earlier. He has done other things, but those are the two. That's the like big show that he was in for a while. That's all I've got to say about Love Is Like a Cat. It's one of the shows where I'm like, I watched it, it was fine. I don't feel like recommending it to anyone. Next we have Love Like the Galaxy, another rewatch, but it is a 56 episode rewatch. It's a commitment. It's a 1 second. I did not write a lot for this because I'm like, yeah, I like it. Just need to. Love is like the galaxy. It's a 56 episode show that came out in 2022. I watched it in 2022, and then last year I was like, you know what? I want to watch this again. I need to see it again. It's a straight romance. It's historical. It's set in probably a specific time in ancient China, but I cannot remember when that is. Um, it's so good. I like how all the other ones have like just a lot of detail about the plot, but I'm just like, it's good. Watch it, watch it. This is a like, it would be a 10, but there is like a plot arc between the mother and her daughter Meow Meow that is too long and needs dealing with maybe about 30 episodes before it. Um, but basically, it's set in a time where the country is unstable and there's been a lot of wars and uh, the main character, Xiao Shang, meets a young general who's on the rise when he visits her town, and he falls in love with her at first sight because, of course. uh, and she helps him find a fugitive that someone in her family is hiding. Um, as she's on the way back to her family house because she's been like sent out by her grandma and aunt who don't really like her. But she's coming back because her parents are coming back from the war because both her parents are generals, I think. And then her brothers are coming back who are all like soldiers. And like if she's not there, it's gonna be weird. Um, and then like he's like, oh, this girl's intelligent. She's spicy. I like her. Um, and she's very intelligent. She's kind of dumb when it comes to like reading, writing, that kind of thing, but she has good instincts and is very lively and happy uh when her mother isn't around. Her mother or her grandma or her aunt are all kind of not great. Uh the grandma you kind of get to love in that, oh, he is my annoying family member that I put up with kind of way. Uh her mom only realizes she's not being a great parent when she's about to lose her daughter forever, which isn't a great moment to realize that. Uh, Xiaoshang is just like genuinely like a relatable, cool person who you're like, yeah, I would be like this. I would be terrified to get on a horse that I'd never been on. Uh, and we watch her like grow as a person and realize what she wants and like how she doesn't fit into what the world wants her to be because she's stubborn, she doesn't trust people, she's very independent, and she's not going to be someone's like little obedient wife. Um, but then she goes through several. I think there's two different um engagements that she has that get called off for reasons or other, and you're like, yeah, you shouldn't have you shouldn't have be getting married to this guy because he's not going to fit you when you grow up. Like he fits you now as a young person, but he's not gonna fit you when you're like a fully adult. And that's how we meet. Like the young general is Ling Buyi, and we find out all his secrets. Um, he has a mysterious past. Um, like he's a guy who's living to get vengeance on the murder of his family and to figure out what happened in a battle where a lot of people died. He's like one of the few survivors. Um, and like he spent all his youth in the army and training for this vengeance and stuff. So he like has no skills with women whatsoever in the beginning, and like Xiaoshang has to deal with him and be like, no, you can't be this possessive. I refuse. I refuse to deal with you for being possessive. I refuse to deal with you trying to force me to be someone who I am not. You either like me like I am, or you don't, because I'm not changing fundamentally who I am as a person. Like they both start so far away from each other, and then they both grow towards each other, and in like it's done in a way that like It's just good. I don't know how to say it other than that, but it's good. It's very good. There's lots of likable side characters. Like, Ding Bui is like two guys that work with him all the time. Great duo. Love them a lot. I would would love a sideshow with just their antics. Has sad things. It has happy things. It has annoyingly not a wedding in it. People riot about that. And the rewatch that I did of it made me want to rewatch it again. That's how that's how good it is. But the mother daughter arc and they're like fighting could have been shot. It's the only bad thing. That was a very long, rambly description. But that's how I feel about it. Love Sea was the next drama. Uh, it's a Thai drama to BL. Uh, got a 6 for me. Uh, there was there was a shitty dad. There was a contract relationship that needed more explanation. Uh, it had childhood drama. It had trauma. I was trying to say childhood trauma, but it also has childhood drama. Um, it has creepy family members. It has a cute child. Uh, there's a beach episode. Um, and it has a house I've seen in another drama. The house the main character lives in when they're in Bangkok is the house from Cutie Pie 2 that not Cutie Pie 2, which is the drama spin-off. There's a spin-off drama from Cutie Pie 2 that has the second couple as the main couple in it. It's their house in that drama. It's the house in this drama. I saw the staircase and there's like a real weird like rich people marble hallway in it, and I'm like, oh, it's the same house. This huge door for no reason. The door is like 7.5 foot tall and like 5 foot wide. It's huge. It's huge for no reason whatsoever. And it has this weird floating staircase in the middle of the room because it's one of those let's let's be modern houses where it's like we're rich and modern, so we don't have any internal walls. All our stuff is just placed around, placed where the walls would have been, like a Sims house. uh, this drama is around a writer that gets forced to take a holiday in order to get more inspo to write a book because he can only write sex scenes after he's done a sex, which seems problematic if you're using your sexual encounters to put in a book. Feels exploitative to me. I don't know. I don't know how other people feel about that. It just feels very weird. Uh, mm. While he's on this holiday, he goes to like a beach, I think he's on an island, I may be wrong. He falls for the local hot guy, driving instructor, diving instructor. Um, and they start a contract relationship where he pays for Mahasamut's time and quote unquote skills. I'm sure you can use that your imagination on what those skills are. um, and they spend a lot of time together on the island, and then he asks Mahasamut to come with him from his home on this beach paradise to the mainland, um, where they experience what I'm going to call classic average, the average classic mame, who's the writer, amounts of anger and childhood trauma and angst. Because she can't write something without childhood trauma. Um, but I want to give her a round of applause for not making someone's entire not child's entire character development being either childhood sexual abuse or sexual abuse as an adult. Um, she's got a habit of for reference for anyone who doesn't know. Mame wrote a lot of things, but she wrote Tan Type, the show that I complained about earlier. Um, yeah, she's got shows that are like she didn't write the show. Sorry, she wrote the book that the show is based on. She's wrote a lot of books that there's like TV show adaptations of, and sometimes you're like, like the two, ugh, the two main characters, actors in this show were also a couple in a different show that was based on two books dealt with greatly, but it was significantly better dealt with than Tantype. Um, but they have a lot of chemistry together, and it's sad that this show's kind of blah. Like it's not it doesn't stand out in any way. And like there's parts of it that I would have liked more explanation of, but there aren't. And yeah, like I don't know. I don't know if it's even worth talking about more of. So I'm just gonna move on. I gave that a 6 because their chemistry, great. Great. You could write an essay on their chemistry. It's kind of crazy. Um, but the plot isn't holding that up at all. They deserve better. Like another couple we're going to talk about when we get to the S part of the alphabet. But it's from living from Love Sea to Love Tractor. Uh, Love Tractor is a Korean BL that has serious slice of life vibes. That is very good. Uh, what's not on this service? 1 second. I didn't write a lot of this one. Other than I like is good. Is good. Is a 9. It's a mini series from 2023, but I didn't get around to watching it till later because I'm very behind on many things. But it has It's set in a rural area, as you can tell by tractor being used. It's set in like a small village where a city a city mouse and a country mouse meet. Uh, a guy from the city who is a law student, his grandfather dies, I think, and then he goes back to the village to like help put his house in order or like to just take a break because he's so overwhelmed with city student life. And he meets like the cutest, like most innocent farmer who he thinks is older than him, but he's actually younger because he has one of them. Where it's like, you look old right now, but in 15 years, you're gonna look so young. Um, and they just do slice of life things, and like it's very good. It's a dog that's a matchmaker, and like the guy from the city knows nothing about farming, and the farmer like does farming activities with him, and I think this one's when they're picking like oranges. I think it's very cute. It's very very cute. There's like children who come to do strawberry picking. Uh, and one of them gets lost, and then they have to find him, and then they get lost at night, and then they realize never their feelings for one another. It's good. It's like one of those dramas where there's like the the angst in it is so low. Like I don't know, the it's it's just good. It's a 9 from me. It's a 9 from me. There's a random white guy that gives wise information for some reason. Um, there's it's just good. I don't know. It's just it's just good. Okay. Watch it. If you can find it, watch it. It's not very long. It's not very long and it's good. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Like the stakes. The stakes aren't big, but you care about them. And that's great. And then we move to Lovely Runner. Can you see the there's a theme here? Love, 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 lovely. Um, Lovely Runner is a Korean show that is straight. And it is my favorite trope of all time. Time travel. And imagine going back to 2009. Back to the financial crisis. In Lovely Runner, we have a disabled woman who goes back in time to save the life of an idol that saved her life. Because when she was in an accident, I think, and it leaves her paralyzed from the waist down. And he calls her from a radio show. She picks up the phone and he says something to her that gives her like the strength to keep going because she's really distraught and about becoming paralyzed. And she like devotes herself to this idol group that he's in because it meant so much to her what he said. Um, but she gets sent back in time to save him because he is really unhappy and he dies. And then she finds out that their lives are way more intertwined than she thought at first because they met as teenagers. Not quite met as children, but it's up there. And she finds out that he used to live across the road from her, and he used to be a competitive swimmer before he had to give up swimming and become an idol. Um, and she's in the because in the past that she regains her ability to walk, and then she has to keep trying to save his life in the future. Um, by trying to get the best outcome by changing things in the past, and it's really good. It's based on a web novel. It's all time travel dramas are, it seems. Um, web novel based dramas tend to be less insane than webtoon based dramas. Webtoon based dramas, I oh, we'll get to one in a minute, but mm. And this show 16 episodes. It's a 9 for me because as I said, I love time travel. It covers disability well, which is shocking because not many people do it well, and you like the characters, and they do a really good job of like the interweaving of all the difference and different futures and the paths things could have taken and did take, and yeah, it's really good. I am looking for the drama that I have written here because I have one sentence written about it. It's like, I like this drama. uh, here we are. Yes, I'm checking which one it is because I watched two dramas with the same concepts and I'm confused about which one this one was. Okay, I know where I am now. I know what I'm talking about. Maybe. This is a drama called Marry My Husband, and it is a revenge drama. It has 12 episodes, and I guess it's a Korean drama. Uh, to me, is that right? It got a 9 from me, only because I like the other one better that I'm going to talk about now. Uh, this drama is based on, I think, a webtoon. I think so. 'Cause I'm sure someone told me that they were reading the webtoon and then it disappeared, and then the drama came out, and then the webtoon came back again once it had finished because they didn't want people pre-reading ahead, I suppose. Who knows? Um, and in this drama, there's a woman who's dying of cancer, and she goes home and finds her husband and his mistress, who is her best friend, uh, talking about how they're so glad that he didn't like thought he like oh he thought that she had cancer before she found out and didn't tell her to go get it checked because he was like, maybe it'll kill her and then I don't have to have. And he went and got insurance, like life insurance on her in that time, so that when she dies, they're going to get a lot of money. And then they're like, oh, that's great. It's great. Why can't she die faster? And then she confronts them. They're like in her house, in her bed. And there's a big fight that ends up with them killing her. And she gets sent back in time 10 years to 2013 to get revenge. And that revenge is to make her, at the time, boyfriend and her best friend marry each other so they can take all of her bad luck and be miserable together. And it's great. If you're someone who's ever been bullied by someone, it's great. If you've ever been cheated on by someone, it is a very good. And it's I don't know. It's I don't know how do we how do we explain the goodness of this drama? It's just like someone who's constantly being like pushed down finally rises up. And she gets help from her boss at work, who we eventually find out has also come back in time. And they figure out that they're both time travelers by uh by them both talking about a BTS song that hasn't come out yet. So and he like trains how to fight so that she can fight this guy that she used to be in love with, and then they both end up together. And there's the wedding scene is amazing. The wedding scene where the two people she hates get married to each other. Oh, it's great. It only gets a lower mark because it has very like it has that webtoon just like kind of vibe, which I don't know, it's something that some people like. I tend not to. It kind of detracts a little bit, but is good. It's very good. And it has an ending where it's like, yes, I have got everything that I wanted from this drama. It's very satisfying. Um, the next drama is Meet You at the Blossom, which is a joint Thai and Chinese production. Which we're beginning to see more of because that's how we're getting Chinese BL out of China. Is that they're making it with a Thai production company and then distributing it through them to get around censorship because this is pretty bold. Um, it has an 8 out of 10 for me. It's got 12 episodes. I'm pretty sure they're short episodes. It's an 8 because it feels like they wanted to have more episodes and then had to condense like the last four in order to get what they wanted in. Either they wanted like 12 full length or it was so talking about Meet You at the Blossom. Um I was talking about how it feels like they cut out some of the episodes and then had to condense it because the plot kind of like goes slow, slow, slow. It's vroom, vroom, vroom at the end. Um, it's all about how this rich young heir to the wealthiest family meets a quote unquote young woman and falls in love with her. But the young quote unquote woman is not a woman, it's a man in disguise. Um, and then that guy in disguise who only ever wears white um tries to use his feelings to steal money from him, but it it gets thwarted when he himself starts to develop feelings for the young rich guy. Um, uh, what was I going to say? Yeah, and like there's a huge plot point. Like the young rich guy gets super obsessed with the guy who he thinks is a woman for a while. Um, and it ends with him getting cursed to be like used as a pincushion. Um, like his body gets riddled with pins, and when it rains, it makes him be in horrific pain. And the whole side part where he's like friend zoning this guy who's like very obviously liked him forever. Uh, and then I don't remember much else of it because the end plot, like I said, gets like vroom vrooms for it, and like it really needed that extra time, but it was nice. Uh, it was interesting. It was different. It's always good to see content that manages to get out of behind that. Oh my god, my brain is melting. Just like stream was earlier. Uh, the hi. Things the stream is wild today. Yeah, there's a lot of friend zoning happening. There's a lot of who's this mysterious guy? There's a lot of uh costume calls capture. There we go. I am terrified. It says that cat. That's the last caption it made. That was a long time ago. We were talking about cats. Um, yeah, the yeah, I think that's it really. It's not the most amazing show, but it is different and interesting, which is, if that's your thing, it's a for you. Alright, the next drama that I watched is called My Divine Emissary. And I think this is another one that I didn't finish because I didn't. Yeah, I didn't finish this one. I was really looking forward to it because it is based off of a Korean drama that only has 2 episodes that is called Splash Splash Love, I think. This is a Chinese remake of it, and it has 24 episodes. And there might be 22 episodes too many. It really, really drags out the plot. Um, it's about a teenage girl about to sit her like important exams to go to college, but she really doesn't want it, and she doesn't think she's going to do well. And then she falls in a puddle and ends up in the past, in a time where uh there's a big drought, and there's a young emperor, I think, on the throne, and he's trying to make it rain, and then she starts giving them like modern maths and science to fix the drought problem by using her like textbook to learn all the how to fix the problems. I got 9 episodes in, and even though this is time travel, it's historical drama. Um, and it's a adaptation of a show that, like I said, I really like. Um, it's not good. The main characters really do not have chemistry with each other. Um, and even though it's meant to be a high school romance, it it just feels really juvenile in a way. The like Love in the Galaxy has like this juvenile romance in it, but it's pleasant, and like you can see their growth together. Where this is very like it's just maybe I'm just too old. Maybe I'm too ancient for this, which is possible. But no, no. I gave it a 4, which is a lot. It's a low. Then we move on to My Happy Ending, another revenge drama. I think 2024 was the year of the revenge drama. Uh, and it's not in the same aspect as the oh my god, what I literally Marry My Husband. It's not that kind of revenge. Um, I give it a 7, and it's very strongly about like mental health, family, like the grief, and like the way that like this woman who's a successful CEO, a social media star, and she's a mother and a wife, and like her life seems really, really perfect, but it all falls apart, and it just devolves into chaos. And you see her like having to like realize what's actually going on in her life, and how to pick all the pieces back up together. Um, but you have this really strong feeling that like nothing that happens in this drama would have happened if the people in it could have talked. That's why it gets slightly lower um review than I would have, but also the way it talks about mental health is great at some points, but also bad at others. Like it, like everything that happens that makes everything fall apart pretty much could have been solved if there wasn't so much stigma around mental health problems, so that people felt like they could talk about it and help each other through it. And like on two on one hand, it's great in that it talks about psychosis and that you can have positive hallucinations. But on the other hand, it talks about like how medication changing someone as a person. And it's like that's not what happens when you're taking mental health medication. Like the you that takes medication is still you. You're just medicated. Like this is it doesn't change you fundamentally as a person. It just changes your ability to cope with things in your life and relationships in your life and like how present you are as a person, but it doesn't change you, which I think a lot of people are scared of. That like if they take medication, they'll be someone else, but you're not someone else. You're just you. Like I don't know. Like if your heart is sick and you take heart medication, it doesn't make you a different person. But when we're like dealing with mental health medicine, like there's this kind of weird thing where people feel like it makes them at risk of that. And I don't know, it's just very sad because it can really help. And like with anything, sometimes you have to try a lot of different things to find the right medicine, the right dosage, the right therapy, the right life changes to make you feel better. Because like just taking medication's not going to fix everything. Because if you're depressed because your life is terrible, there's only so much putting you on medication is going to do until you make like your life is less terrible. Like it's not a it's not an incongruent thought, like you can if your depression is like from a factor of different things, sometimes you have to change some of the factors in order for it to get better. I don't know if I'm like coming across great on that, but like personally, I didn't start feeling better until things that were making me feel bad stopped happening. Um, as much therapy and like medication as I was on, it needed the bad thing to stop happening for it to truly get better. And that show, mm, is a lot. So I would be careful watching it if things about mental health and uh like family strife and stuff get to you. It's a thriller and suspense drama. And now we come on to something much lighter. My Sweet Mobster, which is a romance, a Korean romance about useless gangsters. Who doesn't love that? has 16 episodes. I gave it a 9. There's so many nines this year. uh, it's a show where I watched the first episode and I literally said out loud, "Oh no, it was made specifically for me." I'm not kidding. It really was. It's just mm, if you liked um what's the Jo Bong Soon it calls weightlifting dog. Is it weightlifting? No, weightlifting fairy came out at the same time as the Do Bong Soon drama, but it's different. But if you like the vibes of um the Do Bong Soon drama, you will like this drama. Um, it the plot revolves around a YouTube's kids channel creator who has a really shitty MCN. Um, and basically like her when the shitty MCN she's under and you're like totally because it's a drama that like it's not about YouTube, it's about Blue Cylinder. It's totally not YouTube anyway, but like the YouTube Kids channel is part of this shitty MSN that fucks her over, and they like end her contract, and it leaves her homeless, and there's nowhere in Seoul that's cheap enough for her to rent. So she's just carrying her things in the middle of a rainstorm and has to find shelter in the home of an ex-gangster who's trying to go clean and bring all of the guys that were in his gang with him into a non-crime filled life. But guess what? He just happens to be the CEO of a butchery empire. And maybe he's the kid that she's been looking for this whole time, because guess what? They met as children. Of course they did. It's a Korean drama. How could they not have met as children? Got to have met as children. I feel like 90% of Korean dramas, the main characters met as children. Kind of crazy. And then in it, there's a prosecutor that really should be getting dispatched because of his inappropriate behavior with a victim, client, love interest, witness. It's very weird. And the guy who plays the main character of the ex gangster is uh the actor who is in a movie called A Taxi Driver as a soldier. I watched recently and I was like, oh my god, it's the same guy. It's just a show that's just cute and like funny. It's very strong on the funny. We're getting like like halfway right now. I like the way I started it with like I didn't watch many dramas last year, and then we're like 2 hours into an explanation. I think it was 2 hours. Stream did die in the middle, so there's that. yeah, nearly 2 hours. My Sweet Mobster is done. Now we go to One Room Angel. Is the first Japanese drama of tonight. It is a BL, shockingly. There was a lot of BL dramas I watched last year. It got a 6 from me because many reasons, but it's a show about a man that has like a really depressing life, where he's like really disappointed about what it's become, and he feels like there's nothing left to live for, and he gets in this fight at a convenience store that he works night shifts at, where he gets a life-threatening injury, and then he sees an angel, um, who steps in between him and the person trying to kill him, and then he wakes up and finds the angel living in his one-room apartment, and they have to learn to live together until the angel can fly again, and then maybe they can both learn to be happy in the meantime and move on from the bad things that have happened to them. It's sad. I think I might have been too harsh on the 6. Maybe 7. Maybe it was just made me sad. So I gave it a lower grade. Uh, quite possibly could have been that, to be fair. Um, the next drama is Pit Babe. Yes, I did watch Pit Babe. Hi. That's a shock, probably, for anyone who knows me. But hey, I also watched Kid and Posh, so I am a woman of many mysteries. Very mysterious mysteries, like why I watch dramas such as this. Anyway, Hit Babe is based off a web novel, um, and it is meant to be an ABO Omegaverse story, and they chickened because it's dicey trying to do that on TV. And there is going to be a sequel to it because it was really popular, and they are pulling back even more on that. it, it's uh it's wild. It's about race car driving. It's about extremely weird old men collecting children to sell them to other extremely weird old men because of their special magical abilities. It's about people with ostensibly no abilities. And then we find out that their ability is that they can collect other people's abilities. It's it's wild. uh, I like the way it's listed. The genres it's listed as is romantic comedy action. When I would say it is more action, uh, action, like mystery, kind of horror. When if you think too much about what happens in the show, uh, there's like a child kidnapping, child adoption craziness going on. It gets a 7 from me. Like if I don't think they could have been more true to the book on TV. I don't think anyone is emotionally ready for that yet. I don't think anyone is really ready for AB or even in the fandom space. So yeah. But I do like how it it inverts the trope of like Alpha Omega, where the main couple in it is meant to be special alpha. And then there's another couple that's like Omega, Enigma is what they call Omega. There's an Enigma couple, so you get interesting dynamics there. But yeah, I don't think the world was ready for couldn't have come out swinging in the way that it needed to. Uh, uh um, yeah, I don't know. Oh, but we just get Pavelpoo from it, and Pavelpoo are a great on-screen couple. They have a lot of chemistry, and everyone's like, I want to see them in more things. Yes, and thank you. Yes, and thank you. Yes, and thank you. And then we have Sleuth of the Ming Dynasty, which I remember almost nothing about, other than it's three guys trying to solve mysteries. Um, it's a Chinese show from 2020, so with 48 episodes, set in 15th century China, um, where a government official and a guardsman and uh, I think he's the head eunuch are like working together and against each other to solve murders and mysteries and crimes in general. Um, I really don't remember much other than it has that like this was meant to be a bromance, but we're scared of being censored, so here's three guys with weird tension between them. I gave that a 6 because it was good, but I do not remember much of it. It feels like it could have been shorter. Uh, the next drama is called Spring in Crush. And I wrote a lot of notes, but I do not remember. Spring in Crush. If looking at the images will let me remember. I do remember it. Spring in Crush. Images are bringing back memories. It's from 2022, so I was also behind on this one. Spring of Crush, Spring in Crush. I think it goes by both. It's quite common for translated dramas to have different, slightly different titles. It has one of the main characters in it is played by a member of the group BAP, which was and remains to be one of my favorite groups for anyone who is interested. and they deserved better, shall we say. It's another one of those Korean BLs that are really short. There's 16 episodes, but they're all like I think 15 minutes. Um, it's an idol drama. There are idol actors in it. It's historical. It's set in the Joseon dynasty. There's a murder mystery. There's mistaken gender. There's arranged marriage. There's toxic exes. There's childhood trauma. There's homophobia. There's slavery. There's fake blood. There's cross-dressing. There's a happy ending. A great mom. A supportive husband. And great friends. Uh, and the notes that I have are kind of wild. Um, A slave is forced to pretend to be the daughter of a nobleman and participate in an arranged marriage to avoid being murdered by his obsessed ex's father to prevent rumors of said son being gay. Um, it has that, that falling off a cliff trope, but this time it was real goofy. Uh, Someone has a fear of blood. It has that red juice looking blood that we all love. Because some dramas do blood really well where it looks like blood, and some dramas it's like, here's some red food coloring. It has flashbacks because is it a Korean drama if it isn't flashbacks? I think legally you have to have at least one. It's up there with Subway in like 2016. There's it genuinely is very good. Like I don't think I gave it officially. Oh no, I did. I did. I gave it an 8. Um, I gave it an 8. It's generally very likable. It's just like very watchable, very good. Like the two that end up married, they have just like like he ends up getting married to a poor nobleman who's like they have the title but they don't have any of the prestige because it's all gone. Um, so they end up having to work together to like bring the family back up into like better circumstances. And it's just good. I don't know how to put it else to it. And the ending of it made me cry, and it doesn't have the right to do that. Shouldn't have been able to. Like episode 11, like the the poor nobleman says about his quote unquote wife that he doesn't care if his wife is a man or a woman. He just loves his wife. And it's like genuinely really like emotional. And I don't have the words to like word it better, but it's definitely worth watching. Unlike the next drama. Here we get to the drama where I'm like, these actors have better chemistry than this any of the dramas they're in. Give them the script for. Uh they generally Moss and Banky deserve it's Banky. A bank, I think it goes by bank. Moss Bank. Um deserve a better script than what they've been given the past two times. This Sunset Vibes is not about the vibes. I give this one a 5. It's a Thai BL drama. Um, that I put fantasy. Where's the fantasy? It's way more about office politics than it is about fantasy, and I was not expecting that from the trailer, which was very heavy on the fantasy end of it. Because of I think a reaction to another drama that we're going to talk about later called The Sign, which did this better than this does. Um, I put it. Let me finish the tropes. Let me finish the tropes. Fantasy. Where's the fantasy? Office politics, dating the CEO, lesbians, jewelry making, BL, Thai drama, internships, one night stand to marriage, pipeline. Uh, it feels like this was made to capture some of the success of The Sign, but it didn't do that very well. The office politics are boring and feel really contrived. And I personally hate when a show is revolving around interns. um, as always, the main actors have a lot of chemistry, but the stuff they're in does not show that off very well. They were in another show called Big Dragon, which felt like it was trying to kin posh without being kin posh, and they had a lot of chemistry, but the the less said about Big Dragon, the better. Um, Sunset Vibes also has that where it feels like it was trying to do a thing, but then it didn't go out there enough to be the thing. After talking to the same guy on a dating app for literal months, you meet up and he is as hot as you thought he was going to be. Unfortunately, you're going to learn pretty soon that he's also your boss and the son of the CEO. Also, you knew each other in an ill-fated other life, and someone keeps stealing your jewelry designs and selling them to competitors. So you almost lose your internship because of allegations of copyright infringement. Like it has a fantasy element to it in that ill-fated other life, but it comes in so late and is like just feels very bolted on that like it doesn't mesh together in any way that makes any sense whatsoever. And like it could have been a thing and it doesn't end up being a thing. And that's the problem. Another show that I watched last year is Tale of the Nine-Tailed, and that was another rewatch because I watched it with a friend who I've been watching dramas with who hasn't really watched many. And I felt like it was a good one to show off like a bit of historical drama, but also like fantasy um, aspects because it's based on Korean mythology. Um, I give it a 9. Tale of the Nine-Tailed also has a sequel called Tale of the Nine-Tailed Second. I didn't write a synopsis because I'd already watched it before. Can I spell tail the right way? Who knows? Keep spelling tail as in tail of an animal instead of tail as in story. Uh, it's a 2020 drama where it revolves around a woman and a nine-tailed fox who is trying to find the reincarnation of the woman that he loved in the past. and I don't know. I think it's one of those things where you have to watch it to really understand anything about it. Also, my voice is going. Can you tell? Maybe. I'm not going to talk that much about this one, but it's good. If I think of anything more I'll put on it, I will shove that in later. Another rewatch with that same friend. We watched Tale of a Thousand Stars. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Um, Thai BL drama, medical, totally not the army, countryside teacher, where a guy who has heart failure or heart disease, I can't remember, has suddenly needs a heart transplant, gets a heart transplant through some nefarious means of his parents, splashes some cash around, calling in some favors, and then he gets disgusted by that. Finds the donor who gave him the heart, and then reads her diary and decides to go to the place that she loved so much and like try and atone for what happened. Um, and just like run away from home basically because he's sick, like his parents kind of disgusted him. And then he falls in love with a guy who is totally not a soldier there. He's a ranger, forest ranger. Yeah. And they have like just the sweetest, like cute romance that involves a lot of like ignoring medical advice and schools being set on fire by the mafia. um where luckily no one's hurt, then one person gets shot, someone gets shot. Um yeah, and then the ending almost caused almost caused the friend I was watching with to mold because there wasn't a kiss in the script, I don't think, but they improvised a forehead kiss and he almost molded. It was one of the funniest things to like having previously watched the drama before, knowing that that was going to happen. I could just feel it. It was so funny. Also watched Our Sky. Just probably put Our Sky. The relevant episodes. Our Sky 2. The last 4 episodes of Our Sky 2 also extend the story of Tale of a Thousand Stars, so you get a more satisfactory ending if you don't like the original ending. But you do have to sit through the bad buddy moments that same friend hated with a passion. It was also very amusing for me. Um, the next drama is called The Matchmakers, and I wrote literally nothing in this part. Let me see what it was. I do not remember. Because I remember finishing it. So I do not know why I did not finish because I did finish it. Do, 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 do. Ah, yes, this is this. This drama is a Korean historical drama that has. I'm writing the notes as we speak. It has. How many episodes? 16 episodes. And it's romantic comedy. I remember now that I am looking at the picture, but it's about a woman who is a widow and a guy who is a widower who have to team up to get some famous noble women married, and then they end up falling in love with each other. And I think it was like an 8 from memory. We'll go with 8. It feels. I don't know why I never wrote any notes in it. I remember it being funny and like heartfelt. Apparently I didn't remember it well enough to write anything in. There is 4 dramas left. This one is possibly the only one I wrote very extensive notes. Also a 2. Got 2 from me. It's the second Japanese drama in this whole thing. Uh, it has an age gap. It has childhood trauma. It has suicide. It has, I think, murder. It has sexual assault. It has childhood sexual assault in it. It's 10 episodes long, so be careful if you're going to watch it. That it has interesting sentences such as "My body is like my sister's. Do you want to try? Vomit forever." Um, every other episode introduces a new mini boss that is summarily defeated by the power of 26-year-old bodyguard's smouldering eyes, or the innocent love of an 18-year-old. Yes, those two are married in. Episode 8 has a weirdly poignant piece about victims and the way that they suffer, and people try to force you to let go of pain before you're ready, especially if you're a child, because your pain makes them uncomfortable. Episode 8 is really fucking grim in general. The child sacrificing themselves to a rapist to save the others. The rapist's shitty wife, who is just as bad as him for weaponizing her past assault from her father and current pregnancy. He's literally the devil in human form. I gave you accommodation and food. I even gave you my love. I'm going to keep giving you all my love. Vomit forever. And then we have Yuri, a character who's very poignant in that the guy in the marriage, the 28-year-old, was friends with her when they were in I think it's an orphanage, I can't remember. Um and they were good friends. She looked after him when he first started. Um, Yuri is like the victim in all of that who says one's enough. One victim is enough. Like, because she's like sacrificing herself so that he won't go assault other people, other children in the like group home that they're in. And she sees him try to do something to someone, so she murder suicides. And you're like, how much trauma can you fit in one boy's backstory? Apparently, all the trauma. And then it's like, oh, now I'm going to kill my wife for revenge. And then I'm just like, what the fuck is this story? What is the storyline? And it has a truly wild ending, which I will not explain. You have to experience for yourself. But yes, 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 yes. For like a better, more linear description of the story, there's a guy, he's 28. There's a girl, she's 18. They get married. She's from a very rich family. He's been her bodyguard since she was a child and he was a teenager. Originally, it was all a plot to kill her to get revenge on the family. Or the rapist guy was like a cousin of that family, and they thought that they covered it up. But I can't remember whether they actually knew or not. Who knows? It was wild. Um, yeah. Moving on. The Sign. The Sign does what Sunset Vibes wanted to do, in that it brings a modern romance and a historical romance and reincarnation and fantasy, and it mushes them all together and it gets from it a good product. It gets what we wanted there to be from the Sign. It was also like a really big thing for the company that it's under to get going, because they were very new at the time and it was very expensive because it has a lot of CGI in it. It's a mystery, it's a Thai BL, it's a fantasy, it has the police in it. Um, I gave it an 8. I think it should probably be an 8.5. I'm going to change that. It does have some problems, but they're endearing for the most part. Let me see. It's not on that platform. Try a different one. I did not write this summary. Here we are, the Sign. Um, hmm. So there's a character called Tan, and he keeps having premonitions about people around him. Um, when something good's going to happen to them, but mostly when something bad's going to happen to them. Uh, and he does training to be like a special, not just a police officer, but like a special police officer. And there he meets Paya, who he's never met before, he doesn't think. But they when they meet they feel like, oh, I've known you for a long time. And then they hate each other at the beginning, but then they grow to love each other because enemies to lovers gotta do that. Um and then we find out that through various you tell I'm tired. My brain starting to go. He Yeah, they're solving crimes, they're doing business, they're being cool police officers. They're making their way through the police academy sort of thing that they're doing. Um, and then we eventually find out that they are both reincarnations of mythical deities, and they were so strongly connected that even at childhood they were drawn together, and that they've been protecting each other the whole time. Um, um, yeah, and then they find out like what really happened in that original first life and who's been working against them. and it's like it's very refreshing because it's like a thing that we hadn't seen in BL, and we hadn't seen in BL in particular up until that point, and it does a better job of it than, like I said, sunset vibes. The sunset vibes does. It's really worth a watch. So anyway, Story of Park's marriage contract, which is the opposite of many time travel dramas that I watch, in that it isn't a woman going back in time and meeting a man, it's a woman traveling forward in time and meeting a man. It has 12 episodes. I give it an 8. Um, it's a woman from the Joseon dynasty's husband dies shortly after the wedding. And then she gets kidnapped and thrown in a well that brings her into the future, where she falls into a swimming pool of a hotel and gets pulled out by a guy who asks her to join him in a contract marriage. And they they have to figure out like how she died and some other things, and they fall in love. It's just great. It's very weird, but it's great. And the last one on the list for me is Twinkling Watermelon, which a lot of people really loved. Um, which is about a high schooler who wants to be a rock musician. Um, who grows up in a family where everyone but him is deaf. He's a coder. Um, and he travels back in time via some sort of magical music shop to 1995, where he meets his parents um, before his dad has an accident that makes him deaf, and he like learns to like understand his dad and like becomes friends with him and he's trying to get them his parents together in order to get back to his modern life so that he's born. And it's just like it's very wholesome. It's very good. I give it an 8.5. I don't know why. I can't remember. Um, I got an 8.5. But yeah, and then I forgot this point. He meets a girl who is trying to get her parents not to meet so that she isn't born, which is very much the opposite of what he is trying to do. Uh, yeah, and that's it. Of the ones that I completed. Anyway, there is some other stuff that I am working my way through. So I started a rewatch of 100 Days of My Prince, and I got 2 episodes. I have 2 episodes left of Century of Love to watch. I started watching Moon in the Day and I gave up on it, I think. I can't remember. Um, I'm 2 episodes into The Unexpected Marriage. I don't know why I've not watched more of that. And I am 34 episodes into Winter Begonia, and it's so sad. And I can just preemptively feel the sadness. Uh, it's a it's a TV adaptation of the movie Farewell My Concubine, that featured Leslie Chung. Um, it's set in the interwar era in China, and it's very heavily about Beijing opera, and you know it's going to end badly. You can just feel it. You can feel like what like as you're watching it, World War II is coming closer. Um, yeah, it, it's I'm watching it very slowly. I've been watching it since it came out. When did it come out? Let me look. Winter Begonia. Winter Begonia. Let's see, when did this come out? 2020. I've been watching it for 5 years. I don't know, you can just feel that like sad things are gonna happen. It's gonna be sad, and that is what I watched in 2024. I've already started watching things for 2025. Um, I started watching Flower of Evil with a friend, and I'm watching Love Game in Eastern Fantasy right now because that's meant to be good. It's very funny so far. Personally, I love a trope where someone falls into a bog or a game. And that's it. I'm done for today. Thank you very much for coming, uh, putting up with my weirdness and the technical issues of today, and me blabbing on about shows that it feels like no one but me has ever watched. Look forward to this again next year. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye.